Today we're back for part 2 of how to quickly assign worksets to your Revit elements using Dynamo. Hi and welcome to BIM Lounge. If you haven't already watched part 1, I put a link in the description. We've already looked at some categories that may entirely fall under specific worksets. In this video, we'll look at other categories that may require additional planning, for example, filtering exterior and interior walls. Let's get to work. In part 1, we've addressed quite a few of the categories, but as you can see, categories like walls, floors, and doors are still not assigned to a workset, and they're still under workset 1. So let's focus on those 3 categories right now. Now before we start, we're going to need the rhythm and clockwork packages, so make sure you have them installed. Now as usual, let's start from a core node and work backwards. And in this case, that will be filter by numeric value. Filter parameter by numeric value. And the reason why we're going to use this is because you know that exterior walls should go under the exterior workset and interior walls should go under interior workset. So we need a parameter that will let us distinguish between these two functions. And if you, for example, if you select the wall and you edit type, you see that function is actually a type parameter, a type property. If you look at the functions that we have available, we have interior, exterior, foundation, retaining, etc. Now remember this order because we're going to follow this order to get a numeric value. And just as a reminder, I follow the same order and assign a numeric value to the function. Now we need to gather all the wall types. So as usual, we can start from categories. And then this one, of course, will be walls. You can type W. It'll take you to the walls. And all elements of category. And then family name. And then wall type by name. So these 4 nodes will return wall types. Let's run it. And we're getting 58 wall types, no matter the function. Now let's filter out walls by function. And the way to do this is the rhythm package or the rhythm node. Now the way to do this is obviously to use these items as types, and the parameter name, we found it in the type properties and its function. So we can use a code block, call that function, and then feed it to the port. And the value, we're starting from exterior walls, so that will require us to have 1 as exterior value, and then for filter method, if you hover over the port, you'll see that equal to is one of the options. So another code block, type equal to, and we can feed it to that. So now the input type here is element. However, we only have types so far. So what we can do here is convert these types to those elements. And this is where we need to use the clockwork node, and it's all elements of family types. Family type. And there is one that's out of the box, Dynamo, but we need to use this one from clockwork. Now all we have to do is feed it there. And we'll need to insert these elements to this list. So to do that, we'll need to add an item, and we should be able to run the graph, and you see the exterior walls turn to red. Now we can do the same for interior walls, and all we need to do is copy these nodes. And this is very easy because the input is the same as all the wall types. However, in this case, we'll need the interiors, so we can type 0. And this time we'll need to feed these elements into the interior workset. So let's add an item to that list. And let's run it. And see the interior walls turn to yellow. Now we can actually copy all these nodes over to the floors and doors area. Okay, so for floors, these are the parameter values that we need to use, but we should start by the category. So we have to change this from walls to floors. So type F, it'll take you to floors. And then we need to replace this wall type, obviously, because we have floors, so we'll need floor type by name. And put that there. So now we have to feed these inputs to the elements in the exterior floors and the interior floors. Again, all these elements will have to be fed to these lists, so we add another list item to the exteriors and one to the interiors. So now we can connect those elements to these lists. Okay. Very good. Oh, we also have to remember, or we have to check that we have the right values here. So 1 will be on top and it goes for the exteriors, and 0 is at the bottom and it goes to interiors. I'd say that's correct. Let's see what happens. Perfect. So interior floors are yellow as the walls, and exterior floors are red. Sounds good. Now, as far as doors, we're going to do something similar, but we need a different node. For the types, let's start from the categories. Instead of walls, we type D, we go to doors. So instead of wall type, in this case, we'll need a family type by name. And we picked this one. So now we replace that node here, elements and elements, and now we can get rid of that. So that will read all the doors. So let's check the values. 0 for interior and 1 for exterior. Correct. As usual, let's add 1 list item in the exterior and 1 list item in the interior. And now we're ready to connect the nodes. And now let's run this for the doors as well. and the door is updated. Very good. Now the reason why I placed a cluster here is because I'm expecting that some of these retaining, or all of those retaining walls, should probably go under site. So we can get rid of that. So we already have walls there. We have wall types. And this time we'll need 3 as retaining. So let's replace 1 with 3. Let's add a list item to the site. And let's run it. Perfect. So all the retaining walls turn to this cyan color that corresponds to site. Now we're probably at a point where we need to start wondering, should we stop or should we keep going? Well, let's look at a view that will show Workset 1 as the only workset to visualize. So I created this view, see Workset 1. And these are the items that are not assigned to any specific workset, and they're still on Workset 1. Now, railings, stairs, yes, we could probably create rules for them, but this is probably a good stopping point to say maybe we can add those manually, right? So this graph took us 80% and it's probably not worth the time finding rules for these. But the reason why I like this graph is that it sort of pushes you to audit your model and make sure that all the elements are under the right category. And for example, if you click on this item, you'll see that it's supposed to be a plumbing fixture, but it's a generic model instead. So yes, we could write a rule in Dynamo similar to this one to put all the plumbing fixtures, assuming that all the plumbing fixtures are interiors, to go to the interior workset. But I can't do that unless I change the category to all these elements. So that's a good exercise. I would do that. I would do that anyway, so that all your visibility and graphics work better. And at that point, you'll be left with stairs, railings, and very few items, and you can probably take care of those manually. Now you see that this graph really is the most beneficial if you have a large project or you have a campus. So then you have to get in and make sure that all these categories are under the right workset. So this could be an audit method or a method to keep your projects clean. Now this exercise is intended to provide a framework for your project and cannot be considered exhaustive. However, I wanted to share what worked for me. A question for you: how would you organize or filter Revit elements based on worksets? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.